What's going on, Colts Nation? What's up, No Horse and Family? I thought I'd try something new today. I was sitting around here today and I talked to Zach a little bit, and I was like, you know what? It's a little late, but I got a couple of things bouncing around my head, and I wanted to jump on here and I wanted to see if anybody might join me on here and talk a little Colts football tonight. And kind of the topic that I'm looking at more than anything for today and for tonight is who is the most important Colts player, with one caveat though, not named Matt Ryan, right? So, who is the most important player who's not named Matt Ryan? We're going to kind of talk about it a little bit tonight and see if what you guys think, if you're live on it, drop it into the chat. If you're just watching, after the fact, drop it in the comments. But like always, you guys, please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you happen to be on the live stream, then definitely let me know what you think. Let me know where your head's at with this, right? And if you're watching it, like I said, drop it in the comments. We'd love for you guys to smash the subscribe button and kind of move on from there. But really and truthfully, like I said, today's episode is about who is the most important Colts player, but with the caveat of you can't say Matt Ryan. Now, why is that the case? Why can't we say Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan plays quarterback. He's the new quarterback on the team. He's probably the most important player on the team, bar none, truthfully, because of the fact that he is the quarterback. You're replacing Carson Wentz with Matt Ryan because you feel that it is an upgrade, that it is an overall upgrade to the whole situation, right? That it is something that is going to push the team over the top, that it's going to take them not only into the playoffs, which Wentz didn't do, but further into the playoffs to see if you're going to be able to do it. So I don't want to include him in this conversation just because the quarterback is the most important position on the field. It's the highest paid on the field. It's the easiest one to pick. So let's negate him. Who are some of the people? Y'all know me and Zach did a video about 2 days ago naming our top 10 players for the Colts. Got a little bit of scuttle because of the fact that some of us had some people ranked a little higher. Some of us had some people ranked a little bit lower. And we kind of rated it differently a little bit sometimes. Sometimes it was who's the most important, who's the most valuable, who's the most talented, who has the most potential, all these kind of different things. And so there's a lot of names on that list. Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson, Yannick Ngakoue, right? Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell was on mine. Braden Smith was on Zach's. So, I mean, the question really, truthfully, is how do you deem most important if you're taking Matt Ryan out of the conversation, which for this we are. Matt Ryan is not going to be part of this conversation. Who is it? For me, an easy answer most of the time is going to be Jonathan Taylor because of how important he was to the team last year. Now you're talking 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns rushing, in the MVP conversation at one point, and really kind of drove the offense. But we've talked about numerous times throughout the offseason that we don't think he maybe have a better season this year, but have less yards because they're going to depend on him less than they did last year because hopefully they're going to trust Matt Ryan more. So is he going to be as important as other players? Potentially. Potentially. But for me, and for those who are watching, I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. For me, I think probably one of the most important players this season is probably going to be Yannick Ngakoue. And I see heads exploding, just poof, poof, poof. What are you thinking? Why are we picking him? The Colts haven't had a pass rusher, a legitimate pass rusher, and Danique Autry was great. He was. Let me correct that. He was really good, but the Colts haven't had a legitimate pass rusher, in my opinion, since Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. Right? I mean, truthfully, they probably have not had a legitimate pass rusher since the two of them. And what was the defense missing last season? A legitimate pass rusher. You've got DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Quiddy Pays on one side. You got Darius Leonard roaming around, Bobby Okereke. And yeah, you had Rock Yassin and Kenny Moore. You've taken Kenny Moore out, obviously, and you've added, or no, you've kept Kenny Moore. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Rock Yassin. You've taken Rock out of it completely, right? And you've replaced him with a former Defensive Player of the Year in Stephon Gilmore. Now, how do you make everybody's job easier? Julian Blackmon's coming back from an ACL injury, right? I see you, RIP, Pee Wee. Thank you. I'd love to hear. Hey, drop it in the comment. Let me know if you think of somebody else. This is going to be kind of an open conversation. I want to hear from you guys too. He says that he agrees with me, so I love that. But I'm always down for some debate. So, but you replace all that. But how do you make the secondary better, right? How do you take pressure off of a returning Julian Blackmon, right? And we did just lose Carter Willis. How do you do that? Well, it's pressure up front, right? And yeah, we had that with DeForest Buckner. And you've got Dio Adangbo too, who's sitting back there. You're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with him and how's he going to play, right? All these different things. But you're gonna, with a legitimate pass rusher, you're gonna be able to take the pressure off of DeForest Buckner too, right? You're gonna be able to allow him to potentially not be double teamed. Because let's play around. Let's have fun for just a second. Let's say that Yannick is extremely impactful, like he can be, right? And let's say that because of that, he draws double teams. When one player draws a double team, what does that mean? Quiddy's one-on-one. DeForest Buckner's one-on-one, right? So he has the ability to allow other people to flourish, not just himself. Other people across the D line. If you muddy up the D line, then the linebackers are able to roam like Leonard does. So it's really important. Harpoon Bakery, I see your comment. Blackmon might not be 100% by training camp, correct? It's debatable. He participated, I believe, fully in the last mandatory OTA, the mini camp, and they are believing that he's going to be all go for training camp. Does that mean he's 100% by training camp? I don't think he'll be 100%. I think they'll ease him in. Obviously, training camp is a long process. The 4 weeks of preseason, which we will not see him down, I believe, in preseason. I'd be shocked if we saw Julian Blackmon play at all in the preseason. But will he be there week one? I think, yeah. And he's an important player too. He's very important because of the fact that he is now the most veteran player on that back end. In the safety room. I'm sorry, in the safety room. He is the most veteran player with the retirement of Carter Willis. So will he be 100% by camp? Probably not, but will he be more of a go, like he's going to be participating? Probably. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Thank you for dropping in. For those who don't know, as always, you guys can pin, you guys can do all sorts of things with your comments. And at the same time, if you feel the need and you really want to get to the top of the comments, you can just, you can hit the little button and you can do a little donation to the channel and your comment's going to go straight to the top. I'll see it. I'll make sure that I'm able to answer it. So we've got a good little collective here. I've only got a couple of people who are in the chat talking. Who are some of these guys? Who are some of the people that you think is the most important Colts player headed into this season. I've named Yannick Ngakoue. I think there are numerous others, and at the same time, we can kind of drift a little bit too. You can tell me that if you got a question about the Colts, if you got a question in regards to headed into training camp. Obviously, I think we're about 18 days out at this point, somewhere around there, on training camp actually kicking off. Not necessarily like the vets or the rookies reporting, but let's run down a little bit. Let's see who else could be an important player. I mean, we've talked about Jonathan Taylor. We've talked about Yannick. Could be DeForest. Could be Leonard. I mean, another one that would be an interesting take on things, and is could it potentially be? I mean, let's sit here. Let's think for a second. I mean, Mo Alley Cox is probably pretty important, right? You lose Jack Doyle to retirement. You have Mo Alley, who's going to be looked at to take the next step as the leader in the tight end room, because you got a lot of young players now. You got a second year Kylan Granson. You got a rookie in Jelani Woods, who y'all know who watch this channel. I absolutely love Jelani Woods. I think he has extreme potential to be like a rookie of the year kind of candidate. But at the same time, and then you have Ogletree out of Youngstown State. You got a really, really young room. So it's very important that he steps up, that he kind of leads that room. He's an impactful player. Harpoon Bakery dropping in again with another question. For the success of the offense, I believe it's paramount for us to have the blocking tight end. So in turn, that would have to be Miley Cox. He might be key. Hey, man, great minds think alike on that one. That's literally what we were just talking about, is that he could be a really important player this season. And he's a big body. He's a huge mismatch nightmare out. For those who know, I mean, I'm a huge Mo Alley Cox fan too. But that's a great point. That's a great point, that he could be a very key player. And I mean, we did a poll on the No Horsing Run YouTube channel page, and we included Matt Ryan. And part of the reason that I'm not including Matt Ryan, for those who might be joining at this point too, is that he was so overwhelmingly the vote on the poll that if I tell you who's the most important player and I name the quarterback, you are going to name the quarterback as well. And I don't want to do that. I want to hear someone tell me that Rodrigo Blankenship is the most important player this season. I want to hear someone tell me that Rigoberto Sanchez is the most important. I want to hear y'all. I want to hear off the wall take on who is the most important player that you think, who is a key player that needs to step up this season that maybe we're not even thinking about. RIP Pee Wee Rogers, because he's probably going to get tested a lot more. Gilmore being on the other side. That's a great one that I actually didn't think of. Isaiah Rogers is going to be a big person to watch this season. 2 years ago, he flashed when Xavier Rhodes went out. He flashed big time in the Buffalo Bills playoff game, almost picking off 2 passes. He's got such speed. He was a special teams threat when he first came. And then he broke into the secondary, into the cornerback room more and more, got more playing time last season. We got to see that develop. And now he's there, man. You got Gilmore on one side, and the idea is that Gilmore's going to lock down that side. I don't know if he'll travel. I don't know. Does he travel with the top dog on the other team? I'm not sure. But he's going to lock down whoever he has, and they're going to look to the side, just kind of like they did with Rock last season to an extent. And can Rodgers step up into that space and be the guy? He's got all sorts of talent. He's got talent coming out of his ears. He's got amazing speed, amazing reaction time. I mean, at the same, like I said, all of us remember just the wish they were interceptions in the Buffalo Bills game. It'll be interesting to see. Wyatt, my boy Wyatt. Wyatt has jumped on. We love Wyatt. For those who don't know, we had an entire episode dedicated to a question that Wyatt asked. If you haven't seen it, go to the channel, click on it, watch it. It's amazing. It was a great question. He talks to myself and Zach pretty regularly. Why it's pretty crucial that Kwity Paye take the next step in his growth while benefiting from Yannick's presence. If he does, entire D-line eats. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's what we were talking about earlier. 100%. If Yannick does well, you have Yannick and you have DeForest Buckner, and you can only double team so many players. So if that frees up a Kwity Paye, if that frees up a Dio Adangbo, I mean, if he makes it to the regular season, if that frees up a Ben Banigou, like it's why back in the day when Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney were here, they both ate because you had to just pick your poison. You had to pick who am I going to double team tonight and who's gonna go get 2 sacks. Now, y'all know with Zach too, Zach talks about he thinks Kwity is a very, very high end level number 2. And now you have your number 1 in Yannick. And what's that going to look like? I think it's a great point. The entire D line will eat if Yannick is who we think he is, which is a legitimate pass rusher. Be prepared, y'all, too, with that. We talked about it on the episode. Boy's going to get paid if he has a great season. I mean, he had double-digit sacks last season and played for 3 teams, right? I mean, I know the 3 teams part worries people sometimes, but he's going to be the dude. And be prepared because an elite pass rusher, we've been looking for one for a long time. And if we got to pay him, that's – just be prepared for that. So, Wyatt, thank you, man. We love you. Thank you for jumping in here. I wasn't sure with this too, you guys. So last minute I texted Zach and I was like, I want to try and see if anybody shows up. So y'all showing up, who's shown up so far. I love every single one of you guys. And for those who are watching later, who are watching now, if you've not subscribed, please. I mean, most of you have. Everyone who's commented has. If you've not subscribed, smack the subscribe. You guys know too. You can join the family now. You can join the family as a subscriber. We love you. You can join the family now we have memberships, so you can join, and that's because of you guys, by the way. That's because of people like Wyatt and RIP and Harpoon and everybody. You can join and you can do a family membership where you can donate to the channel a little. You can donate a little more if you want. So we appreciate you guys for that. Ravens 76, be more. Got to admit, as a Ravens fan, the Colts are a dangerous team. Matt Ryan is the key. You guys have a good defense. Plus, I like Jonathan Taylor, Baltimore. Hey, we love it when we have other people. We joke. Ravens flock wasn't too keen on me last year because I didn't have Lamar Jackson, I think, in my top 5 or maybe it was top 3 quarterbacks. I didn't know. It's not that I didn't have him. I didn't know where to put him. I didn't know how I felt about him. And Ravens flock came after me hard. We love Raven 76. Be more. Stay tuned. Hopefully, we're going to actually talk with him maybe closer to the season. We're contemplating it. If he is so gracious again, because he is an amazing person. And if you haven't watched him, go jump over after the live stream. You can watch all his episodes, subscribe. He's amazing. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what we joked with. Matt Ryan is 100% the key. That's the joke of this episode too, is that we're talking about players besides him only because Matt Ryan is the most important player, hands down, just like Carson Wentz was the most important player last season. Right? If you have no quarterback, you have no chance, right? You have no chance whatsoever if your quarterback is a dud. I mean, look around the league, look around the division for the Colts. You know, Davis Mills. What's he even going to be, right? You don't know. Ryan Tannehill. I live in Tennessee, and man, is there a lot of Tannehill slander on the daily. I mean, you've got just a ton. Trevor Lawrence, I don't even know what he is. Y'all know that I called the Urban Meyer getting fired halfway through the season last year. I've also been known in the early stages of this podcast to say things such as I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a career similar to Andy Dalton. And that's not talent-wise. I want to clarify. That's not talent-wise. That is – I don't know if he can overcome the dysfunction that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. But when you have the most important player as a quarterback, if you don't have one, then you do stupid things to get one. Carolina has the number 1 pick and the number 3 pick from several years ago. They traded for Sam Darnold. They gave up a host of things for him. They traded for Baker Mayfield. They're chasing that down, right? I mean, and we're not going to get into it, but Cleveland doing stupid things to try to secure a talented quarterback. So, I mean, but if you pluck him out, Jonathan Taylor is probably, what was it? ESPN and Jeremy Fowler did their top 10 running backs. They made Derrick Henry number 1, Jonathan Taylor number 2. We have this on this channel. We have that flip-flopped. We have Jonathan Taylor as number 1. Derrick Henry's a close second. I think part of that, I'll say, I have Jonathan Taylor 1, not Derrick Henry, because I want to see what Derrick Henry comes back from the injury looking like, right? I want to see what is he going to be able to actually do that is – can he be the same guy? There's questions. Like I said, everyone knows I live in Tennessee, and there's a lot of questions about that. So, I mean, it's interesting. I can't wait to kind of see what's going to happen with that. But Jonathan Taylor is probably as important a player as anybody. If Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, you've got Naheem Hines. He's more going to shift towards a receiving running back. We've got Phillip Lindsay. He is a proven running back. I mean, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, you guys, but I believe he's 1,000-yard running back when he was with Denver. So there's talent in that room, but Jonathan Taylor, I mean, you've got what is it? You've got Louis Riddick, who I love and respect beyond belief. Would have loved to have him as GM before we hired Ballard. Wouldn't replace Ballard with anybody, but love Louis Riddick. Got him down as a top 3 running back all time if he doesn't get injured and he continues to play. So he's extremely, extremely important. Harpoon Bakery, I would say Matt Pryor's critical. He's only gotten 25 starts in his short career, so getting him reps is important. He might play the most important position this year. Ryan is not mobile. That's a great point. It's a super great point, you guys. I mean, Matt Pryor is stepping into probably one of the only holes that exist on that O-line, and it is a hugely critical position. And he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of experience. We saw kind of that revolving door that Fisher was last season, and Wentz was way more mobile than Matt Ryan. I do want to debunk one thing. Matt Ryan is not a statue, okay? I'm going to say he's a combination a little bit of maybe he's not as statuesque as Phillip Rivers, and he's not nearly as mobile as Carson Wentz. He's probably he's probably more like a I would say like an Aaron Rodgers type, that he moves to make the throw. He's never going to look to move to run, but he's not. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of escapability, so it'd be very interesting. But that's that's Harpoon, man. That is a great person to point out. Dunkmaster Double XL, what's up? Thank you for coming in. You got a question, drop it in on the important players. We're looking at the important players for the Colts going into this season. We're trying to avoid talking about Matt Ryan. Looks like we're still going to do it a little bit. Wyatt dropping in again. The play of whoever wins the starting left tackle job will be a crucial development, whether it's Pryor or Raymond. Doesn't matter, although my money is on Raymond because he is by far the most talented. I agree. If you go and you watch the with the next pick, I think it's super interesting that the top 3 players that the Colts took, they all had grades on to take at their first pick in the second round, and they got all 3. So, I mean, do I think that they're going to they're going to give Pryor every opportunity? He's already come out and said this. He's basically going to give Pryor every opportunity to win / not lose the job. And I don't foresee him wanting to put in a rookie to start the season. Now you start it, a little soft with at Houston and then home for Jacksonville. So you kind of got that, but then you're not home, at Houston, at Jacksonville, and then home for Kansas City. So you kind of got the potential to ease into the schedule, but it's still worrisome. The speed of the game is different, you guys. You don't every year, you don't have someone come in who just hits the ground running, especially in a group like the O line, which is so important that they're all cohesive. And you're going to look at who's going to take the predominant amount. You're going to be able to tell too, because who's going to take the predominant amount of the snaps when we get to training camp? Who's going to, because you're still trying to figure it out, right? Uh, Dunkmaster Double XL. Ryan is a pure pocket passer. He is. I will not disagree. But what my point, Dunkmaster, was that I look at him as he has the ability to make space. He's never going to look to run first. Um, he is always going to look to create space, kind of get a little wiggle, and then throw the ball down the field. So he still has the ability. Watch the tape for the previous seasons. He still has mobility. He's not going to stay. I mean, Philip Rivers was immobile. We can all agree with that. But Philip Rivers was also dealing with a really significant foot injury near the end. Dunkmaster, man, I'm loving these. You are blowing this up. Important players, health of the Maniac, success of Okereke, not getting beat over the middle, Kenny Moore, Pierce showing out, Campbell staying uninjured, Blackman finally arriving, and the right guard. That's a lot to take in. So let's go. Let's attack this. Okay, health of the Maniac, super important. Dude was amazing last season, and was playing on a bum ankle all season. Got it fixed up, got his back fixed up a little bit. How's he going to look flying around? And then, like we talked about earlier, that D line with Yannick and DeForest, they're going to free up space. Remember back in the heydays with Ray Lewis, he had massive space eaters and players that required double teams that took up that area that allowed him to roam free, which is what the Maniac does best. Success Okereke. It's funny is my boy Derek Larger from Bring the Juice, and I think his new one is called Larger Sports Topics, which check that out if you've not seen it. He even brought up, dude led the team in tackles last season. He's not good. He's got a lot to still learn, and that's going to be interesting. Not getting beat over the middle, that's a big thing. Kenny Moore, I think it's important to point out with Kenny Moore, he didn't have a bad season. He had a bad stretch at the bad time, right? He didn't look good the final games of those two last games of the season against the Raiders and against the Jaguars. Nobody looked good. You can pin it on Carson Wentz. You can pin it on Darius Leonard. You can pin it on Kenny Moore. No, but that nobody looked good in those two games. You can go back. You can watch the despondent face that is mine. On the video that we did on the instant reaction as soon as the Colts were eliminated from the playoffs. Pierce showing out. I think that's a great Pierce showing out and Campbell staying uninjured. Those are two really interesting things because I have the thought and the belief that Paris Campbell can be a 1,000-yard receiver this season. It's a shocking one. My partner in crime, Zach, sometimes doesn't love that take, and he allows me to be on that island by myself. And there's only so many yards that are going to go around. You're not going, very rarely are you going to have three receivers with 1,000 yards. Pittman's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this season, probably like a 1,400 yard. I think Jelani Woods is going to have anywhere from 500 to 700 yards. That's just me. I think Paris Campbell's a 1,000-yard receiver. There's just not enough to go around. I think going in, even as good as Michael Pittman was, then going into it, you have to look at the fact that Pierce, a good season for him could be 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's going to have to get acclimated to the speed of the game. Blackman finally arriving. I think that's a worry. That's a good question because of the fact that he is coming off that Achilles, and that takes a full year most of the time. And most of the time, it's the second season after you've had the injury that you are actually fully back. So Dunkmaster Double XL, great all across. And I got to do this. If I may ask, this is Ravens 76B more. Do you wish the Colts kept Carson Wentz? Man, that's a topic for a different day. If you go back and you watch a lot of the videos, obviously I was a big proponent of Carson Wentz. It would have. There was a lot of worry on who they were going to upgrade to, and if it was going to be an upgrade. I was going to convince myself either way because he was gone. Who we have in place, no. And if you watch, and I've got friends who are Commanders fans, they're kind of going through the same cycle Colts fans did last year of looking at the numbers, trying to convince yourself, and then you forget like the roller coaster that did his play. So it's a good question. Dunkmaster coming in from the top rope. Nobody does. Uh, yeah, Harpoon Bakery, good stuff, Dunkmaster. Richard Charles, thanks for jumping in, man. Rogers can run and has several 350-yard rushing seasons, and 40-time comparable to Luck and Cam Newton. Matt Ryan is more compared to Baker Mayfield with a similar 40-time mobility. I like that. That's a good comparison. That's kind of what I was trying to get at with an Aaron Rodgers. I didn't want to say Andrew Luck's name because Andrew Luck also ran and looked for contact sometimes, but man, did he really? Hey, Richard, if you could look it up while I'm on here, what was his 40 time? Because man, the part of with Cam Newton, that surprises me a little if he has comparable 40 times to Cam Newton. I would love to see it. I could see it being very similar to Baker Mayfield, who you guys also know I was really high on when they were looking too. But I get what happened and why they went with Matt Ryan's. Great point. That's a great stat dropping in, Richard. Thank you. Darkmaster coming back in. I think Gilmore is going to be very special. He hopes Ziggy Smalls, a.k.a. Franklin, shows out. I think Doyle is irreplaceable like Dallas Clark was. I'm not going to put and I love Doyle. I love Jack Doyle. I'm not going to put him up there with Dallas Clark. That's a ring of honor. That's a great guy. That's a great player. All-time great Colt. That's a tough one. Franklin, I think he could. Like you're gonna see some people step up this season. You're gonna see some people who are going to be unexpected contributors. We're all super interested to see what Gus Bradley's defense looks like, as opposed to the pain in the butt that was Eberflus's scheme for the most part. Gilmore's going to be special. He's got a 2-year deal. He's going to look to prove why didn't you give me more money? It's going to be really interesting to see. Domo Wiggle, thank you for jumping in. My vote is Matt Ryan or Yannick. Hey, so you vote with me because we are trying not to include Matt Ryan, but he is there. He seems to be a write-in candidate on this a little bit, but we'll go second place is who gets the gold medal on this one. Dunkmaster dropping in again. I think both can get around 700 to 800. If Campbell goes down, I'm a Patman Strawn. Doolin Truther, our boys get slept on. The Ghost deserves a contract after what he's given to Indy. Okay, I'm going to take a second. On this one, Dunkmaster. So I agree. Like those yards, that's very comparable. Patman, Strawn, Doolin, of those three, I'm a big Strawn fan. Last season when they drafted him, I think we did a video. It was one of our first massive videos. It was amazing to see. But we did a video on him, and I kind of called for him to make the 53-man roster, which a pick that late in the draft tends not to do that. And they stashed him away. I don't think they can do it again this season. I think he's going to get reps. He's just a freak athlete, but I don't know where he's at. So Frank likes his receivers to know every route for every receiving position, the X, the Y, the Z, everything, right? And he's got a lot to learn. He came from Charleston, not College of Charleston. Okay, Charleston. Go look up videos. He looks like he was playing in a high school stadium when he was in college. It's insane. Doolin is a burner. I think he's going to look to a great comparison I heard. I can't remember who said it was. He looks to be going the Zachary Pascal route of show out on special teams, then get some reps at wide receiver and see what you do. And Ghost, man, I love T.Y. Hilton too. I don't know, man. I'm so torn. A lot of people feel the Colts need a veteran in that wide receiver room. And then you kind of hear more and more that Coach Reggie Wayne is more of that veteran receiver now. Hilton's still out there. I would love for him to get 300 plus yards. If y'all know, drop it in the chat. The 300 something plus yards or wherever it is, to where the Colts become one of just a handful of teams, if not the only one that has three. I think that might be the only one. 3 receivers with 10,000 yards receiving for one team. Like, it's insane. And I would love it for him. He's super important. But you aren't seeing the outcry as much as you were last season, like the hashtag bring TY home and all of that. I think people want to see some of the young guys play. So it's going to be interesting. He's given a ton to Indy. He toyed with retirement. I'm surprised. To be honest, Dunkmaster, I'm a little surprised he didn't, because he's so close with Doyle, and they were going to kind of do the same thing. And he had a conversation with Andrew, who encouraged him if he was going to retire. He said, "Man, I got to stop talking to him because he's making me want to retire," and he wasn't sure if he was ready. So the we're going to see what happens. He's not signed now, so it means he's going to be one that comes in maybe during camp. Richard Charles, the most important player, not named Ryan, is Darius Leonard. We need his ankle to get healthy. Absolutely. Um, you guys, there are no wrong answers when it comes to who you think is the most important player because you can make a case for anybody. Now, Darius Leonard got paid last offseason. He was injured this season, and you can tell a difference when he's not on the field as opposed to when he is. You can tell 100% the difference when he's not leading the defense, when he's not out there. So, and how's his ankle? It bothered him all last season. You heard reports saying like the back contributed to a little bit. You had McAfee kind of dispelling that. McAfee worried. Leonard tweeting at him. Like there was a lot. Like if you don't follow Darius Leonard on Twitter too, by the way, you need to go do that because he's an amazing follow and he's fun to watch and he's on there and he interacts a lot with the fans. Dunkmaster dropping in with another one. My serious concern is Frank's play calling. We have too much talent not to be as successful. He has always lacked intensity to me. I think he doesn't step on the pedal enough. It's a concern. You can point that out. That's a key. Like how's Frank call the game? There's definitely been times, and last season was tough because last season it wasn't just that it looked like they took their foot off the pedal. They just ran out of gas completely, it seemed like, and they never had that killer instinct to put a team away. It always felt like the team crept back in. I think he's an amazing play caller. I think sometimes he may get more, and I've talked about this on the show before. Me and Zach both have. Sometimes he may get more in his head on, well, they think I'm going to do, like a great example was the playoff game against Buffalo 2 years ago where they ran, and then they threw, and it was just really weird down on the goal line. It was like, well, they think I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do this, but they may anticipate that, so I'm going to do something completely different, right? And he's very analytic. We know that. So I think he's a great coach. PFF ranked him in the top 10. I think he came in at 9, right behind Vrabel, which was it's tough to take that list seriously when Cliff Kingsbury came in, I think, in the top 5, which is ridiculous. But he's well respected. I think he's a really, really good play caller. Richard Charles. Oh, okay. Going back to my question. Rodgers ran a 4.71. Lucken Newton ran a 4.68 40 time. Richard, what did Ryan run? That's my question. Did he run in the 4.6s or the 4.7s? I don't know. I don't know. Nomadic Brian, hey man, you jumped in. We're glad to see you. Love you guys. Thank you for jumping in here. Buckner, Leonard, and Ngakoue. Okay, Gilmore, Taylor, Pittman, Pierce, wide receiver. I don't want to jinx by name more. Not in any particular. Hey man, like I said, there are no wrong answers when you say who's most important. I'm going to look through your list. I'm going to pick out some people that we haven't talked about. Pittman's a good one. Does Pittman make the next step to be a legitimate, like right now he is our number one wide receiver, hands down, bar none. He took the torch from TY last year, right? But does he make the jump to a top 10 receiver? He didn't make PFF. He didn't make the NFL's top 10. He didn't even make the honorable mentions, which that's a whole different thing. I think he should be above an AJ Brown or somewhere like around there. You can make an argue for DK that he could have been above DK, but does he make the jump to be a top 10 to a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL? That's going to be interesting to watch. That's a great list, man. That's a great list. Ravens 76, be more okay. Have a good night. Enjoy the content. I'm out, Baltimore. Thank you, man. You are welcome here anytime. We gladly accept other fans into the show. We love hearing other fan bases talk. Love debate. So you are always welcome here, man. Dunkmaster, I respect the young guys, and I have faith, but I'm faithful to my boy TY. He's given so much to us. The most important player is 100% Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. I'm not going to disagree. Wyatt, shifting gears, assuming we don't draft a QB next year, what position merits our first rounder in 2023? Take into account replacing our own free agents that walk Okereke, but must be dynamic. It's a good okay. So, that is that is a tough one. If you don't go quarterback, which honestly, depending on how Ryan plays this season, I think he's a 3 to 4 year quarterback potentially for the Colts. I think that's what they're looking at. Minimum 2, most probably 4. You're going to want to get a quarterback in there. Next year's draft is loaded with quarterbacks. I mean, I was looking at for those who don't ever go on3.com is really good, but I was also looking at something to where they were ranking the quarterbacks going in, and it's an insane amount of talent that's coming out next year. I mean, you don't need a running back. You don't need, depending on what you see, I don't think you need another wideout. You have, because even if Paris gets hurt, he's going to be gone after this season. Pierce, if he steps up, you have your 1 and your 2, Pittman and Pierce. Tight end looks to be solidified. The O line is looking, depending on what you see, you could go after a left tackle higher in the draft, depending on what you're going to see with it. Safety could be out there, depending on a lot depends on the season. It's hard to say where you go with it until you see how people respond. Dunkmaster coming in. I hope we get CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud worries me a little bit only because of the Ohio State factor. I know you're not supposed to group all the players from one team and one university and what they look like in the pros, because I'm notorious for that, but I'm also notorious that I really like Justin Fields, and that would have been amazing to see him in the Colts uniform. But it would be interesting. AOQ, thank you for jumping in, man. Haven't been keeping up with Colts content as of late, so this is a great way to get back into the groove of things. Good stuff. Thank you. And you dropped in. Matt Ryan ran a 4.8, so a tick slower than a couple of the players, but kind of in line. He's not running a 5.2. Ryan will be just as slow as Rivers scrambling out of the pocket if necessary. God willing, he doesn't. God willing, he doesn't have to scramble outside the pocket. Jordan S., thank you for jumping in, man. We appreciate it. Love seeing you guys come in here. Do you think we will pay Kenny Moore more money? And if not, what's the plan? Man, it's tough. A content creator, a Colts content creator that I respect had a comment that said that we all get really excited when we pay a player, a free agent, $14 and $15 million. You dump out a bunch of money for him, but you don't want to pay your own. I think people have a hard time with the idea that he has numerous years left on his contract. I don't know. Do I think we pay him more money? I think if I'm having a gut feeling, I think that they strike a deal with him in regards to, hey, just show up for camp, play this season. We'll take care of you next season. Like, well, you're in line. You're in, you know what I mean? Like, we got you. We got a couple more things, that we got to take care of. Come on, you got to pay Big Q. You're probably going to have to pay Yannick, depending on how his season goes. So, it's going to be interesting. Do I think that they pay him more money this season? Probably not. But I think there's like a handshake agreement with Ballard and him. There's a certain level of trust that, yeah, we're do right by us and we'll do right by you. Dunkmaster Double XL. I think Taylor takes pitch plays. Hines does screens. Mo, Woods, MPJ short to mid throws. Campbell and Pierce taking the top off. Yeah, yeah. It's do I need to? I don't feel like I can expand on that too much. Taylor's great between the tackles too. He's foot in the dirt, one cut and go. I think how you're going to see Hines in the slot some. I'm really, really interested to see Woods. I really am. And MPJ, let's not discount him. He can take the top off too. He's a great jump ball receiver. The great thing that I've started using that I've heard more recently from some of the radio hosts that I like in Tennessee is combat catcher. That's kind of what he is. And Campbell and Pierce absolutely are the guys who take the top off the defense. Also from Dunkmaster, and if our defense is as good as it looks on paper, we can be an all-time team. Seriously, I do think it's probably the best defense we're going to put on the field that we've put on the field in years. There's a lot of talent in a lot of areas, so it's a great point. And then I think we definitely pay Kenny Moore. He's a role model of a player active in the offseason. He's an example. He'll be paid after negotiations. Could be true. And I'm not saying we don't pay him. I don't know if they pay him right now. I think Ballard probably has an order onto who he wants to pay, and obviously Big Q is going to be the first one on that list because he's not had the big payday yet. Wyatt, any interesting possible questions for future shows might be something like what surprising cuts can you foresee? Absolutely. Okay, you guys, so absolutely. We're going to get into all that too as we actually get into training camp. We'll get into like who are the studs of training camp, who are you watching, who could be the surprise cuts, who could be what is the final 53. We did that last year. What do we think the final 53 is going to look like? Great stuff. Like I think it'll be fun, and I want to know from you guys. Like, do you guys enjoy this being able to interact more? Me and Zach have talked about kind of doing some more live streams to get with you guys. So let me know with that too. Nomadic Brian Hines is working on a triple flip end zone routine. God bless it. Just as long as he doesn't like blow out his hammy trying to do it, right? Just just be safe. That's all I ask. Just be safe as you do that. But that's a great point too. I mean, we've gone through a lot of players, you guys. We've gone through a lot of players on who we think is going to be super important, who outside of Matt Ryan. I mean, y'all got anybody else? We still got people in the chat, still got room. I can talk for a little while longer. I could talk Colts football all day with you guys. Who else do we think? Do we got any ones out of left field? Do we have anybody with the guts to say that it is Rigoberto Sanchez? I'm going to wait. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, and remember, you guys, like we said too. Remember, always, I always try to tell this too. I'm not winding this out, but like, please like, share, subscribe, comment. However you want to be part of the channel, we appreciate it. You want to give a little donation to help me and Zach out, do different things, and bring you guys great guests and great content. We'll take that. If you just want to subscribe and you want to be watching on the videos, you want to jump in the chats, we're good with that too. Make sure you guys are checking all that out. Make sure you're dinging the bell because we are closing in on the season. You get to start seeing more of us. We've got great guests. We've got some great guests already lined up for the season. As you guys know, when we do previews, we always bring on people from the opposite team. We've got some amazing guests already lined up. We're really excited about. What else we got? What else we got? There we go. This has been fun. Thanks for trying this format. Thank you, Wyatt, man. Anytime, anytime. And Wyatt, Wyatt's our YouTube super fan, as Zach likes to call him. And sometimes during the off season too, we like to have people on. Who knows? You know, we'll see. Dunkmaster coming in. Would it be wrong in the future to let go of an O lineman for a starting linebacker? A TJ Watt would be a thing of beauty next to Darius. Love these live shows. Thank you guys for loving on the live shows. It's always fun to kind of jump out here. My answer to that would be no. Ballard loves the trenches. He loves the trenches. He has always said that. I don't really ever seeing him trade an O lineman to get like a TJ Watt. TJ Watt cost a ton of money, and that's also not really what the defense is built on. And he's very rooted in his belief on what that defense is going to look like. And TJ Watt is that linebacker, that edge. I mean, it's a tough one. I don't see that happening. And dark horse, it could be Kenny Moore season. I love Kenny Moore. I mean, is he the best nickel cornerback in the NFL? Absolutely. Is he one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL? We're going to see this year. Like you're going to see this year, I think, on what it looks like. I think a comment that we got on him when we rated him was that we're going to see, was he a product of Eberflus's defense and the schemes that he was put into? So, I mean, I'm interested to see too. It could be. I've been watching yours, Colts Law, Horseshoe, Culture Shock, Bring the Juice for years. I appreciate it, man. We love all those guys. Love them all. I think we've had most of them on at one point or another. Huge fans of Derek and Cody. They're amazing, amazing people. Great content creators, better people. I was actually talking to Derek earlier in the night before we jumped on here. Cody, I regularly talk with Cody. So in Culture Shock, I love Marcus, man. Lawrence is amazing. Everybody Inside the Horseshoe is a great show too. So yeah, if you aren't checking out those ones, you can go on our channel too. Drop down to the bottom, and most of those are linked at the bottom of our show, bottom of our channel page. That you can jump over there and watch them too. Wyatt, I have a face made for radio. I'll stick to which. That's just bad, man. You are always welcome. Me and Zach have talked about having you on. You know, we can if you don't want, we can always just put a little silhouette. We can get the picture from the thumbnail that you were on with the spiked shoulders looking like Legion of Doom. Um, so Dunkmaster, secretly, I can out Colts you guys all day. It's an addiction. Woo! Uh, hey man, make sure you're dropping in here then, because we love talking to some Colts, and that's a tough one, man. To out Colts us, we've been doing this. Me and Zach have been doing this show together for over a year. Prior to that, I had a different show and did that for about a half. I mean, we've been doing this since the 2020 season. Uh, about halfway through the 2020 season, all the way through the off season last year, through the season, and through the off season this year. So, hey, I'm always down for trying seeing what people got. Avatar, Nomadic Brian, except Jay Powers, he is too legit. Yeah. Gerard is amazing on there, and he is literally a Colt. So it's hey, I got no problem with any of that. So, fun show, fun live show. We've kind of veered around a little bit from who's the most important to who is, who takes on Kenny Moore and everything. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk to you guys. If y'all got anything else, like I said, dump it into the chat. We'll kind of go. I'll go as long as I'm getting things coming in the chat. We'll keep kind of talking. I'm winding out. But at the same time, if you guys want to keep talking, I'm here for it, man. I got no problem. I'm having a great time answering the questions, answering what you guys think. So I'll give it a little bit longer. If you guys got anything else you want to talk about, if you guys got any players that we haven't talked about, if you've got a quick question, if you got a question about the show, if you got a question about what we're going to be doing coming up, let me know. Dunkmaster, Yannick might be the most important. With the most important most to show. Yeah, we talked about that in the very beginning. I mean, he's my pick. Dunkmaster, cheers. We'll talk to you later, man, if you're headed out. And will there be a lot of movement in the depth chart after training camp? That's a great question. The positions that I look the most at when it comes to that are definitely going to be wide receiver, tight end. I think those are two really big ones. And safety. I think those are two ones. Those are a couple where you could see some movement. And truthfully, on the O line and the D line, like you have locked in places, but there's going to be spots that are up for grabs. So it's going to be interesting as we get to training camp. Zach is great at that. Zach, I think, is going to training camp a couple of times this season. He did last year. Zach's great for sending. He sends amazing videos to me when he gets to do stuff like that. And we'll be a little bit more in depth when we get there. Dunkmaster, we let go of Rock. Who's the eventual replacement? It can't be Blackman long term. It's probably my guess. Okay, so Rock is a corner. Blackman's the safety. Let's clarify with just that little bit. The replacement for Rock is Isaiah Rodgers, more than likely. That's who you're looking at is going to be the replacement for Rocky Sin. And everybody knows, like, I think I made a bet I was going to buy Zach a Rocky Sin jersey if he had a good year, and he ended up having a pretty good year. A little bit of poo-poo on the way out the door, talking up the Raiders, talking down the Colts, but Colts easily won that trade when they sent him over and got Yannick Ngakoue back. But yeah, no, I think you're looking for Isaiah Rodgers to take hold of that, and we talked about earlier. That's a great player to look at. That's a really important player this season as well, because if he's a dud, you might be looking at corner next season and the next off season in the draft or in free agency. AOQ dropping in with it. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, Jelani Woods, Andrew Ogletree. Which one doesn't make the 53-man roster? Most likely Ogletree, but I'd like to get your thoughts. Okay. So I'll go as far as I think Mo's the one, Jelani's the two, Granson's a third, and Ogletree we probably try to put Ogletree on the practice squad. Try to pass him through the waivers, get him over there, get him to the practice squad. And I think that there's real potential that Jelani is the number one receiver or number one tight end by the end of the season. I know a lot of people will tell me he's raw. He's got a long way to go. But man, you can't, like, his speed, his size, the mismatch. His ability to learn the playbook, I think, his ability to kind of roll with changes. I mean, he started his career at Oklahoma State, and he ended up going to Virginia. I believe he started his career as a quarterback too. So the ability to kind of adapt and move and do what he needs to do. I know they like. I got a guy that I love to talk to who kind of gives me little bits and pieces, and I know they really do like Ogletree, but I think they're gonna. I think it's like a Michael Strong kind of thing. I think they're going to try to get him on to waivers, but that's a room, like, tying it back into who's really important. That's a really important room, because Frank does like to use his tight ends a lot, and he really likes that move tight end, that tight end who has the ability to really make an impact on a game. They've been looking for that since the name that doesn't like to be spoken, which is Eric Ebron, but they've been looking for that since he's left. Dunk master, wide receiver 3 battle, tight end 2 battle, QB 3 battle, left tackle battle, all going to be fun to watch. Absolutely. Like I said, y'all stay tuned to the No Horse. And if you've not hit the subscribe button, make sure you subscribe to it. Tell a friend to subscribe to it if they're big Colts fans, because we're going to be covering all of that when training camp's finally here, because we will be talking real football, not hypotheticals, which we're so excited for. What if Ogletree blows out everyone? I think you're secretly related to Ogletree. Then I still think it's hard pressed, man. I do. I still think that they're going to try to put him through onto the practice squad. I mean, Michael Strong blew away everyone. I mean, he was putting starting corners on skates during training camp last season, and they put him on the 53 man, but then they kind of shelved him the rest of the season. Maybe that's something. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Wyatt, sleeper choice, Ryan Van Denmark, DeMark, sorry. We gave $175,000 signing bonus as an undrafted guy, very similar athletic profile as Raymond, worth watching in camp battles. Absolutely. That's a tough position though, man. And when undrafted guys, it's even tougher. The Colts are known to keep an undrafted player. Maybe this is him. I mean, they had it for a long stretch of time. So we'll see. I picked 4 of our picks in my mock. Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man. I will tell you what, in the mock, if you go back and you watch in the mock draft right before the actual draft, Zach had Jelani Woods as our second pick. He 100% called it. So, let's see. AOQ, you think JoJo, the Dominator, Domin makes the 53-man roster? I'm really hoping he does. There's always, I mean, it's depth at the position, right? And it's the ability to, no one hands you anything. No one's going to hand you a spot on the 53-man roster. Can you take it? That's going to be the key. We should have got a DB or a lineman when they got Ogletree. It made no sense to me, man. So part of it is it's a late round pick. It's a late round pick. It's a flyer, and don't knock little small school guys. Terrell Owens, from my alma mater, University of Tennessee Chattanooga. Right? I know, Carson Wentz from North Dakota State. I'm a big Trey Lance guy. Trey Lance, North Dakota State, right? You got a lot of players. Joe Flacco from Delaware. You got Steve McNair from Alcorn State. I know I'm naming a lot of quarterbacks, but Jerry Rice from Mississippi Valley State. You got a lot of players who could really show out from smaller schools. So it'll be interesting. Nomadic, man. If Mo doesn't excel, is he out next year? Man, they I don't think so. Let's remember too, Mo Alley Cox didn't play football till he got to the NFL. The dude made an NFL squad and has gotten paid several times without having played a single down of meaningful football till he got to the NFL. They had to completely teach him how to play football. Dude played in March Madness, but he didn't play in any actual college football games. So he's got some rope, and they obviously really like him. No, I don't think he'd be out next year. And he could have a really, really good season. I do like him. If you ever watch him, he makes it look like he's holding like a kiddie football. His hands are so massive. So, I mean, all in all great stuff, you guys. All great stuff. If you guys have anything else, drop it in really quickly. Like I said, I'll go as long as I'm getting things. We're going to kind of wind this down. Great amount of participation from you guys. I love it. I love talking to you guys and be able to do this. It's so much fun, and we're going to do it more often. If you guys got anything else, then drop it in. Dunkmaster coming in one more time. And at what point do we call our new tight ends the Twin Towers? They are massive. They are massive. I will tell you that. That's a scary package. Don't forget, and Wyatt, don't forget the impact 2020 COVID year had on this year's depth of the draft class. We signed a ton of undrafted free agents, many of whom would have gotten drafted in normal years. That's true. There's a lot of talent, a lot of people who opted out in the 2020 season, a lot of people who went back to get a little bit better. You're going to see the impact of the 2020 COVID year for several years. So it's a very, very good point from Wyatt. So all in all, you guys, if you've got anything else, like I said, I keep saying it, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things. Make sure you're dinging the bell. You can see down in the bottom right corner, we've got a Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter. We have an Instagram. I'm going to try to be a little bit better about that. And then obviously the bread and butter is the YouTube page. We do short videos, long videos, live streams. We do polls. We do all sorts of things. We want to make sure you guys are in tune and as involved as we can get you guys. Dunkmaster, can we talk about the foreign guys we signed? One was a DB. Oh, okay. You are talking about, oh man, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name. He's from Germany. He's not. They're not looking for him to play this season. He's looking to play, but they're looking to kind of get him over here, get him acclimated. It's kind of like maybe it's like a future contract a little bit. They sign him. They're able to kind of stow him away as an international player. But that's a great point. He's very talented. He's catching. I think he caught balls doing backflips. So. I'm really surprised we haven't brought TY back. Almond Butter 860. Thank you for dropping in here. I'm not shocked. It's one of those things that the longer it goes, the the longer it goes, the more it seems like that it's gonna go longer. And then especially once they got Reggie Wayne in the building as a coach, I think that turned it. And we joked last year that they didn't go out and sign edge rushers because it was kind of like Ballard saying, I want to see my young guys play. And I think he's to the point he wants to see, can these guys I've drafted and picked up, can they play in the wide receiver room? And then, the coin flip that everyone talks about all the time is Julio Jones versus T.Y. Hilton. Who do you want? I think they're going to give you the same level of production. If you're asking me, I would probably take T.Y. in that one. Wyatt, I'm retired. I can go longer than you, Ha. Thanks again for a terrific show. Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you for coming on, man. There's still people in here. Anybody who's left, if you got something you want to drop it in, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm probably going to start to wind this down a little bit. Like I said, you guys, all the time, we so appreciate you guys coming on, you guys talking with us, every single person. If you're not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. If you've got a friend that you think would really enjoy the show, they don't have to be a Colts fan. Like I said, you saw we got Ravens, we have Seahawks. Herbicide normally jumps in here if we give enough notice. They're in here. We've had Texans fans and Jags fans, Eagles fans were trolling last year. We love everybody. So if you don't have to be a fan of the Colts if you want to subscribe and catch it, because at one point or another, we're probably going to talk about your team too, especially if we're playing this season. But we always joke we would not be where we were without the No Horsing Around family, which is you guys. We so appreciate you guys coming on. We so appreciate you guys watching and listening. When you start a podcast and you start a channel, you just hope one person watches. And when you get to where hundreds of people are or thousands of people are, it blows your mind. So what we got here, Doug Master? You dropping in contact Harkin and BS Free Colts guy. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Yes. Thank you, man. You were amazing on this. I appreciate you dropping in with all the love, with all the comments. It's a lot of fun hearing from you too. If anybody, we still got 8 people in the chat, which is kind of insane. We've been going for over an hour. I mean, I'll just do this. I'll go a little bit more. And if you got any questions, not even pertaining to who maybe is the most important, that's the front end of this. But if you got a question in general about the Colts and what's going on ahead of the training camp, thoughts of the overall offseason, just anything at all, go ahead, drop it in, man. I'll answer it. I'll hang on here for just a little bit longer, and let's see what you guys got. Let's see if you guys got anything else you want to talk about. Dogmaster, you're scaring me when you say, "Oh, I got questions." I'm gonna be like, "Put your hand down, Dogmaster. Anybody else got a question?" But if you got one, I mean, like I said, drop it in. I got no problem answering them, and I'll do my best to answer them. But if you don't, that's fine. We'll do this again. Why did we release Dallas Clark, Dunkmaster? Why did we release Dallas Clark? You just dropping in. You know what? We're gonna have a whole different show of the history of the Colts. You just dropping in stuff about why do we release Peyton Manning, right? You know, why do we release the players that we do? It's a great question. Most of the time it's age and you're looking for a younger player at that position. So why did Peyton betray us? Oh no. Nope. Dropping that one down. Not touching that one, Dunkmaster. You're gonna just blow me up with questions. Are we just going, Dunk? Come on, man. We're just going through questions of different players who've left. Uh, so no. If anybody else has any other questions, if not, I've had a great time with you guys tonight. It's been a blast. Like I said, you know, scrolling across the bottom real quick. Those are all the follows where you can find us. It's been a great time. I've enjoyed answering your questions. If you come up with any, if you watch this after the fact and you got questions, we love when you guys blow us up in the comments on the video. Make sure you do that too. I got nothing else. If you guys got nothing else, you know, we always joke and say the same thing all the time. We always end these things the same way we always do. I love you. I know Zach loves you. We'll get him here next time where you guys can ask us both questions. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next time.